Good morning, y'all. It is Saturday, 2 days after the Hurricane Helene visit to Florida. And I was busy yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to get out to do a day after walk around. So I'm just gonna try to do a quick assessment of what kind of damage Miss Helene did to my garden. And from the back, it doesn't look too bad at all. I've got my sweet tea, so I'm good for at least 30 minutes out here to do this walkthrough. Hopefully I won't make you too dizzy, moving too fast, but I do have a lot of work that I need to get done out here. So in this raised bed, I've got some beans that are doing pretty good, and if you can see, I was doing a little bit of containment, just wrapping some wire around to keep these contained, and I did not get out here in time to add more layers. So she did kind of push these over, but they're okay. They are flowering. She did not knock off all the flowers. So that's good. I'm all right with that. I've got an Armenian cucumber here that is supposed to be on that trellis, but of course it didn't have enough growth for me to tie it to the trellis before the storm came in. But now that she's dropped all this nice nitrogen in the water, it is pretty long. So I'm going to get out here and get that tied up. Looks like most of the seeds that I started in these pots has not come up yet. Kind of spotty. I'm not even sure how old those seeds were. The dill has come up, so I'll probably reseed these pots sometime today. I've got a plant that I've lost, and that I believe was a squash of some sort, but these are all of the beans that I had transplanted the other day in the green stalk. And the green stalk, I never really worry too much about it unless we're getting a direct hit of a storm. This thing is so heavy that, you know, some 30-40 mile an hour winds just isn't going to push it over. The tomato that's down there is still doing good. These beans are preparing to flower. These are the Royal Burgundies that I put in. And I also seeded some radishes up in the top layer. Very heavily seeded those radishes, so we'll be pulling some of those guys out. We won't give them a chance to form up. Between our salads and the guineas, those will be eaten. Let me just grab my tea. I've got some parsley and some chives and some oregano here that has put on a bunch of growth. I need to come out. I literally just weeded this entire area, and this is what the storm has done. The sweet potato vine looks pretty good. It does take a beating when that wind comes through, because this is not a climbing sweet potato. I just trained it up the trellis and over the trellis and back down the trellis. So it does take a beating. I do have it tied to the trellis in a couple of spots, not everywhere, just a few ties. The new bed that I just redid is looking pretty good. That rose is putting on some new growth. I did a pretty decent trim on that a couple weeks ago. Let's keep going. Let's see what else we have. Those okras are beautiful. I don't even like okra, but I'm a little tempted to try a little bit just because the plant is so pretty. And do a little deadheading of the sunflowers. The weeds have gotten taller. Everything here looks good. It is really time to trim this hibiscus. The caladiums are dying back. And I just need to get in here and pull some of the weeds and remulch. Do a little bit of trim here on the coleus. Still got some berries on the beauty berry. Hopefully you can hear me good enough. I forgot to charge my microphone, so I'm just using the camera and hopefully it's picking up enough. I've got some neighbors doing some yard cleanup, so you'll hear the machinery going. All of the plants that we tucked in are good. That aster has waked up nicely. It started blooming again. Got another aster tucked in over here in the back. It is starting to bloom again. The alternanthera took a beating and it split down the middle, but it'll be okay. It will be okay. We are pretty far inland, so I never really worry too much unless we're getting a direct hit from a storm. When they're telling me that it's staying out in the Gulf, I'm not worried about it. Pumpkin never even moved. I did have a casualty up front because as I was preparing for the storm and doing the walkthrough video telling you guys what I was going to be doing, I got caught in the first rain band of the storm. So I did have my desert rose to fall and it broke the pot, so I'll need to repot that. But that was just it. That's all it did. Just fell and broke the pot. The plant didn't come out. Nothing on the plant was damaged. The storm didn't move any of these little plastic pumpkins, which is amazing to me because it chose to take that pot, which is about 7 or 8 pounds, off of that shelf, threw it down on top of this planter and broke it. But didn't touch the plastic pumpkins. Nice. So we're gonna walk around, and there's so much to clean up, so much to clean up. Didn't touch any of these pots that were just sitting right out here. Plastic pots, plants just sitting here on the ground. It chose to take that one ceramic pot down off of the shelf. I guess it just didn't like it there. And it's squeezed between the ponytail palm and the car. And let's see what we've done. Well, we've splayed some things over here, but no real damage. This is the Texas sage that Debbie actually took out last month. That Texas sage was planted over there between this hibiscus and the raised bed, and Debbie laid it down on its side. So I dug it up, tried to put it back in the ground. It just doesn't look like it's gonna do anything. It could possibly be alive still, but it did go ahead and drop all of its leaves. I'm just leaving it here so that I can see exactly what happens with it. When I do get in here to do some cleanup of this bed, I will check to see if it's alive, and if it isn't, I'll go ahead and dig it out. The alamanda, It's not letting me walk through here. It has just laid over the entire path, but I'm going to squeeze through anyway. So, just like Debbie, this seems to have been a storm that thought laying things over was fun. So, we've got this clerodendron blue butterflies here that I had just cut back, and it had started to put on some new growth. It is now laying its branches out across the path, so I'll have to come back and do another cut back of that one. It's kind of sad because it was already starting to bloom again, but it's okay. It'll make the plant stronger to trim it back again. These raised beds, I need to get in here and clean them out. The lantana is struggling back here to compete with everything else laying over it. It's starting to thin itself out. So I'll probably just cut it way back and see if it'll grow back. Some of these plants are ones that I'm looking to move, but I don't even know where to start at this point. This is a copperleaf that is ready to be trimmed back. I am like 5'7", and this thing is at like 5'4". The nitrogen that this storm dropped has really given everything a major boost. We've got some self seeds going on in here that need to be pulled out. It's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in here. I can't even walk any further through here. I'm gonna have to fix that trellis. And I think it's time to cut that sweet potato vine off. It's just taken too many beatings in the past couple of weeks. All right, let's try to get back through here. And the plants are wet, so it just feels yucky. Let's see. More laying down branches to clean up. Still gonna dig out a lot of stuff in this bed anyway, so the casualties aren't that big a deal. This African lily has gotten entirely too big. I am going to dig it out. It took it, I want to say 3 years before it started to bloom, and when it did start to bloom, it just took off with growth, and it is huge. So I think I'm going to dig it out. I don't know, once I take out the other things, I'll make a decision. Good morning. And we've got some more alternanthera. It's time to pull these guys out. I do like to drop the alternanthera in every fall because it just gives us some fall color, something that we are lacking here in South Florida. This porterweed is one that I want to dig out completely. It is growing across my path now because the storm has laid it down. That little tree is doing good. Got a buttercup down here that comes back faithfully. I dropped it in this pot a couple years ago, and every year it comes back in. I don't have the heart to tear the thing out of there and throw it away. The bees are happy this morning. They're enjoying the porterweed. Let's see what else is in here that's hiding that may have gotten damaged. It looks like everything is okay. There's a bougainvillea in there. I don't know if you can see that pot. There's a pot, blue pot hiding back there. There's a bougainvillea that grows in there. And you can see its color right there. So that plant is kind of going everywhere. I don't know if you can follow it, but that branch right in front of the camera is the bougainvillea. And there's a couple other branches arching off across the top. And that nice thorny branch that's going arching up and back down into the viburnum, that is also the bougainvillea. This holly needs to be trimmed. It needs a really good prune. That top leader is done, and it's been done for a little while. We were waiting and waiting to see what it was going to do, and it's not doing anything. So I need to get out here with a ladder and get that trimmed up and reshape this tree. I'm going to take a lot off of it. I did not put this milkweed here. My milkweed from my original planting 4 years ago has made sure that it has a life here in the garden, and it throws seed all over the place. So that's the red potato vine that needs to come out. This poor thing is really struggling. I need to cut it out completely, and I'll find something else to vine there. I do have a passion vine, but I think the passion vine will be way too vigorous for that small little trellis. And I'll be out here cutting on it like every week. My hibiscus is all laid over. I gotta figure out how to restake that one. Didn't affect the weeds that were growing in this pot that I never pulled out. This hibiscus looks pretty good. Sweet potato vine is vining. And now to the weed show. I need to do a lot of cleaning over here. I'm thinking I'm going to get some fall flowers and just put them in these pots. I typically have miniature roses growing in these pots, but a lot of them did not make it. I do have a couple that are still alive, so I'm going to keep what I have. And anything that's dead, I'm going to pull it out and I'm going to replace it with some fall flowers. Just clean this bed up a little bit and give it something nice for a little while. The struggle is real with this plant, and right now the name is escaping me, but I have cut this thing all the way back. I have straightened up this trellis, and I have put it back in place, and every single time that I do, another storm comes around and pushes it over. The bird of paradise is now got an open bloom. There was another bloom on the other side. I don't know if it's open yet. No, it's not open yet, but let's see if I can get it in the frame. There it is. There's the bud, if you can call it that. Has not opened up yet. And I need to trim. That guy. Everything over here needs a whole cut back. It's exhausting just looking at it, and I don't even know that I have the energy to do it today. I think I'm gonna just start some seeds today. I don't think I'm coming out here to do any cleaning. It's just too much. Just mentally drains you. That is the Green Cascade Japanese maple. It's doing better now that I put it in a bigger pot. It's still trying to acclimate to the heat out here because it was tucked in full shade for the first 2 years that I had it. And after it made it through those 2 years, I decided to try moving it out into the garden. Looks like I need to do some hard cut back or pulling these coleus out. The pot is flipped over, thanks to our wonderful storm. It's kind of weird how the storms pick and choose what they're going to flip over. The Eugenia, I need to go ahead and get those spheres tightened up a little bit. And my upside down topiary is ready for a new trim. I bought this topiary on clearance. It was looking like absolute death, and the cashier actually asked me 3 times if I was sure I wanted to buy it. And I told her, yeah, it's fine, it'll be okay, I just need to get it out of this pot. And I intentionally made this lower balls smaller and gradually got them bigger going up, because nobody ever does it that way. It's always the larger ball on the bottom. This is a different copper leaf than the one that's in the front, and I need to trim this one again. Seems like this one's due for a trim every 3 weeks. I try to like hack it back to about 2 feet, and this is what happens. This container in the back has a snake plant in it that I'd like to take out, and I would like to put the passion vine in this pot and allow the passion vine to grow up and over the greenhouse. But I've got to take the time to put some wires over top of the greenhouse roof so that that passion vine will have something to hold on to. That is my dryer vent, and I don't want the passion vine to go there, so I'll have to be diligent about keeping it trimmed off of there. Yet another sweet potato vine. As you can see, I love to pop these guys in because they add some fall color. And the green buttonwood is happy that it's gotten a good saturation of rain. This tree was doing good. It was a gorgeous tree when I bought it, and I forgot that I had it, and it sat for almost a month without getting any water in its can, and it was near death. And I said, let me try one last ditch effort to save it, and I stuck it in this square pot, and it's been okay. It does get a little dehydrated from time to time if we don't get any rain for a couple days, because it does like water. So I have to remember to come out and water it when we don't have any rain. These are the mesclun seeds that I threw in, and they're doing fine. Never mind those plants that are growing up along the greenhouse, between the pot and the greenhouse. I didn't plant those. The seedlings that I dropped outside because they were extremely dry are doing okay. I thought they were going to get drenched by the rain and killed, because I did forget to come back and take them into the greenhouse, but they're doing okay. These self-seeded portulaca are living their best life in a little bit of dirt here. Soil level in these pots has dropped so much. Oh boy. The banana is not looking good. This thing is loaded with bananas, and it is now laying down, and it looks like it might have damaged the stalk. The stalk does not look good at all. I'm gonna have to see what I can do about that. But I got a ton of bananas on here, so that extra weight just kind of helped to pull it over. These guys are pretty close to ripening though, so I'm not gonna do a whole lot with this plant. I'm gonna try to leave it be and give those guys a chance to ripen. I don't want to take them all off that green. They're really, really green right now. They've got the first blush of yellow coming in, but so underneath here, we've got a snake plant that's holding on and pretty much supporting those bananas. And this is an orange that has flowered several times but has not fruited. So I don't know what's going on with that one. We've got a very happy coleus. The corn is still doing okay. The storm did not wrangle it too much. Probably had some good protection from those banana leaves. The grapevine is still up and doing good. This is Makawa Yatsubusa, Japanese maple, and it looks okay. It looks okay. This Salvia leucantha is okay. Not too splayed. I love the blooms on this plant. They're a really neat velvety flower. And that color is just unheard of anywhere. We got two other grapevines that need to get put on the trellis, but the trellis is a little warped. I need to straighten it out, tighten it back up, get it in place. I'm reluctant to put this one in concrete because it's pretty rusted and I know I'm going to have to replace it within the next 2 years. So I don't really want to put it in concrete. So I'm just trying to prop it up basically with the weight of any pots that are around it. But the two pots on the side of it is where those grapevines are going to go. So these guys are doing pretty good. Pushing new growth since I cut them off of the trellis. This is the beginning of the grapevine that's growing all the way along the screen. That grapevine comes from this pot. And it is growing with a ton of chives that need to be cut way, way back because they are just entirely too unruly. I love the smell of them out here though. And the smell of them also deters rodents. So we used to have a ton of swamp rats that would run around the house like it was the Indy 500 at night. They would just race around the house in circles. We'd watch them on the camera. It's like, what are you doing? Why are you choosing to race around here? But since I've put those chives there, I've not had them hanging out here at least. I'm not sure about the other sides of the house. The Farfugium needs some trimming. It's getting some sun scald. These salvias need to be cut back. I don't know if I'm going to just cut them back or if I'm going to dig them out. There are, I think, 4 different salvias that are planted in this mess of grass weeds down here. I am absolutely over the philodendron. This plant was planted by the builder. And I don't dislike it. I'm not in love with it. So I'd rather take it out and put something else that I want in that spot. Got a couple of the fruit trees here. and one crepe myrtle that is shedding its leaves. I'm gonna go this way. Oh, we got a nightshade that has decided to drop itself here. Sneaky little thing. I don't want you here. No nightshades if you are not an edible. If you are not a tomato or an eggplant, it's likely that I won't want you here. This clerodendron needs some fertilizer and a hard trim. It has bloomed several times, but it's winding down. Let's see. So it looks like we just have some laying down plants here. So not too bad all around. I think not weeding this bed kind of helped it. Got a little bit of extra support from the weeds to hold up some things. But I do have a lot of cleanup to do. So now I'll have to get out here and really do some serious weeding. This one is a red maple. And I am going to probably keep it in the pot. I'm not sure. I want to put it in the ground, but then I don't want the root invasion from putting it in the ground. Looks like, what are these? These are vandas. There's 2 vandas there, and then some ferns. They held on nicely. Oh my gosh, the weeds. Storms like to lay down grasses. These are muley grass. That's a muley grass. That's a muley grass. That's a muley grass. This gardenia needs fertilizer. Bad. Really bad. Let's see. Oh, we had one topple over. One container topple over here. This is so weird. There's 2 more of these. There's one there, and then there's one in the far distance over there. That one's out in the open. It didn't get knocked over. But this one that's tucked in the middle of all these plants gets pushed over. Meanwhile, the okra that has no stakes is standing up. I can't make this stuff up. Let's see. Got some cattleyas on this tree that seem to be doing okay. There's a dendrobium over there that's doing okay. And there's another dendrobium that I need to check on. This dendrobium was given to me, and it's doing okay. It is probably due for some fertilizer though. That one was given to me, and this one, where is it? Yeah, there it is. That one was also given to me. So I like to make sure that those are okay and still hanging on to the trees. It's just a lot of pushing things over. Nothing really damaged. The mums are blooming. And I always forget what color the mums are on this side. I drop these things in the ground and I don't pay any more attention to them. And when I go shopping the next year looking for mums, I forget what colors I already have. And I think I want to add a few more here. Honeysuckle still has some blooms. The privet cassia is this poor thing. You'll see it's staked. Let's see if I can get the camera to zoom. You'll see it's kind of staked here. I had to do this after Debbie because Debbie laid this tree completely down on its side and I didn't want to dig it up. My neighbor propagated this tree and gave it to me, so I really want to keep it. It does throw seed all over the place, so worst case I can just move one of the seedlings into its place and it'll live on. But this poor thing. So now I've got to tighten up the stakes again and pull it back upright. Do another trim on it. Got some peppers in here that we need to take off. I just took all the ripe peppers off. And I come in after the storm and there's a ton of ripe peppers. Again. The Vitex made it through okay. Not even leaning really. Let's see. We've got 3 rows of Sharon in here. Due for some fertilizer, but they're okay. That's 2. And then here's the 3rd one. The irises don't ever seem to care. I could probably dig out that salvia that's there and drop something else in that place. The pentas have been there for a couple of years, so I'm not really looking to take those out just yet. They still got some life in them. The Gerantospheres are due for a trim. The Podocarpus hedge is due for a trim. Alright, we've got another pot toppled over here. Let me see if I can just stand this one up. This one is my coral bougainvillea. Try to do this without getting stabbed. This one's a very pretty coral color. I don't even know if it's, you can even really see it. As nice a color as it is. The slash pine is okay. The little jasmine that I dropped down here to save it from the wind was fine. It was protected by the slash pine. Storm did knock over this chair. I had to send my boys out to pick it up. And I just put it back this morning. Marigolds are laying down. The Lespedeza takes a hit every single time we get some strong wind. This plant just cannot handle strong wind. I need to give it some iron. It's an iron hungry plant. I mean, it's living underneath a live oak, so it's got to fight for nutrition. But I love the plant itself. I love it. The Swiss chard that I ran out and unstacked was saved. Got a lizard there hanging out on top of the chair. And we ate some of the Swiss chard the other night. So I don't have very many large leaves right now, but I do need to take some of these off. Maybe I'll give them to the guineas. These guys weren't as protected as the ones on the other side. And it looks like I need to reseed another pot. This one needs new seeds in it. I just reseeded this one in the back, and you'll see those coming up there. So I'll drop a new seed in there to replace that one. The cucumber is doing okay. Probably was protected by the walls of its pot since it's such a young seedling. Marigolds are pushed over. The lantana is okay. Again, the Vitex didn't care. The Vitex probably enjoyed its whipping. And it was whipping. Looks like the second scavola, which is actually, that one is the smaller one. Looks like it's coming out of its funk, whatever was going on with it. I do have a hard time growing scavola. I don't know why. The one on the right never skipped a beat. It's grown and put on some nice blooms. That one on the left, though, was near death. Oh, maybe it's time to pull the pepper out. It's been here a couple years. It's a pretty sweet pepper with random hotness. Kind of weird. I can't think of the name of it. Is it Mad Hatter or something like that? Something weird. It's a silly name. But the peppers tend to be more sweet. What's going on with you? I got a carpenter bee above my head on the privet cassia blooms. And he is making a lot of noise. But that pepper has been in here. You see the trunk of it there. This pepper's been in here for a couple of years. It gives us lots of peppers. We've not gotten very many of them that were hot. So it's a pretty sweet pepper. It produces nonstop. But I don't know if I want to keep it. I may just pull that one out. I'm getting rid of a lot of stuff. I can't really get over here without banging my head on the cassia. So I'm going to try to zoom. I've got an artillery fern here that's been all pushed over, so I'm going to see what I can do to save that guy. The wild artillery fern pop up everywhere, but to buy one, they want like $9 for one plant. And I bought that one because I really wanted that texture over here, but I don't know that I want to buy another one for $9. So I might just pull that guy out. Oh, I don't know what else is over here that looks damaged. Nothing really looks damaged over here. It's just the grass weeds. It's a lot of grass weeds, and I'm thankful for the grass weeds and having left them there because they seem like they protected a lot of my softer plants. We've got a Dianella there. We've got the barberry there. That's Orange Rocket barberry. And to the right, in between the Dianella and the iris, that is an Encore azalea. I think that is Autumn Debutante or something like that. I think that's what that one is. Oh my God, this bee. Do you want to be on camera? Can you stop buzzing in my ears? Moving around. So, looks like the honeysuckle has been completely thinned out on this side. It looks much better from the other side. It's all thinned out on this side. Looks like we've got some of the white Creole onions coming up finally. There is one in that pot that is coming up, and looks like 4. I don't know how those seeds got that close together in that pot. It's not where I put them. And over here we got a couple of the white Creole coming up in here, but none in the smaller pot yet. That okra looks good. Got another Vanda up there. Lots and lots and lots of silly weeds. So you guys know how much I was enjoying my Benary's Giant Zinnia. The Benary's Giant Zinnia did not enjoy the storm. This is what we're left with. I don't know if I can cut this back. I don't know. But they were such pretty flowers. They're not pretty anymore, but they were pretty. I don't know if I can cut this back or not. I don't know what happens if I cut it. So I'm going to probably just snatch it out. The begonias that were so full and pretty, and the salvia that was so full and pretty just last week are tattered and thinned out. And the sweet almond bushes that are back there are kind of splayed. So I think I'm going to just be doing a big clean out. I can't bear to take these pentas out. These things are just, they're just doing the most right now. But I can't take them out because they're happy. It's past time to trim this waffle plant. I mean, I'm having a hard time figuring out where the waffle plant even begins. The angelonias are all laying down. There's a white, there's a pink. I thought I had another color angelonia in here, but I guess not. I guess I only did white and pink in here. But they're all laying down. The mums, the yellow mums, are all happy. They don't even care that they're covered by weeds. They are doing their thing, giving me some color. So I'll clean these weeds out. It's time to pull these old zinnias. The crepe myrtle is dropping leaves, of course. It's time. The herb seedlings fared nicely. I need to start taking some of these guys out, especially those basils. They need to come out of those little pots, and they're going to get put into that stacking tower. Alright, and then we're going to carry on here. This basil's been good. The guineas have been eating it. Smells really good. I'd come by and just brush it just to release the aroma. Got some jasmine in here that's doing too much. It's going everywhere. We've got a wild ageratum back there. I do appreciate our native ageratum, but when I tell you it is a weed, believe me. Alright, so that's the whole garden. That's the state of it. This is what it looks like after a pretty decent storm stays off in the Gulf. If you live inland, my heart goes out to all those who are dealing with catastrophic loss, those people who live on the barrier islands and just inland of the barrier islands who get the storm surge. I really hope they all can put their lives back together and move on without too much added stress and drama. Looks like I have a orchid that was snatched out of its location. It must have been hanging. I'll get that guy up. Yeah, I see the hanger. I just got to figure out where it was hanging, because maybe it was hanging on the hibiscus. Were you hanging on the hibiscus? You must have been hanging on the hibiscus. So where else would you come from? Are you hanging here? Somewhere around here? That's where I'm gonna put you. You're okay. I'll move you to a better spot when I feel the need to come out and do some cleanup. Mentally, I just can't do it. Alright guys, that's it. Video's getting really long. When you do a slow walk through the garden, I guess that's expected. But I gotta go in and edit 2 other videos. And also got to get this one posted. So until the next video, guys, hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.